Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I have another video using Pigment Craft Co. products. So first of all, yesterday I shared a bunch of flowers that I created using the amazing Spring Floral stamp set. Now today I wanted to go a bit more colorful as I already promised yesterday, and so I am creating some colorful backgrounds using these inks from Pigment Craft Co. I love these pigment inks, they are incredible, they are gorgeous, and the assortment that they have is truly unique to Pigment Craft Co. and I just love them. So I'm using here a stencil. Well, originally I smeared the inks myself, and you will later on see a background that I created like that. I thought I was filming, but I wasn't. So that was a bummer when I started with editing and the voiceover. But the idea was the same, only that I thought, well, maybe some of you prefer having more defined lines. So I took this stencil, it's from Time for Tea Design, but probably if you don't have this stencil, you have another one with stripes. Many brands, I think every brand with stencils have striped stencils. So if you have a stencil like this, you can have the same fun as I had. But I just chose some colors of inks and I went over it. And then I got this organic but still sort of straightforward background. I'm going to do this again using also some of the pink colors because, well, they are part of this assortment and I love them all. So here I just mixed and matched a bit of these colors. Every time that I chose another darker ink, I just laid a piece of, well, paper on top of it that I could just throw away afterwards to prevent going into that lighter area or that other color that I already used. If the ink is going underneath my stencil, personally I don't find it a big deal. I find it a bit more organic and I truly love that, so I couldn't be happier with the cards that I created today and the amount of flowers that I could use on these cards because I created a lot yesterday. Yesterday I shared a video where I swatched these inks out and where I made 2 cards with the flowers from the Spring Floral stamp set from Pigment Craft Co. company. Now why? Because if you didn't watch yesterday, Card Nouveau, that's the Belgian webshop where I am brand ambassador, has now Pigment Craft Co. products in their shop, and I was just so excited about it. I wanted to celebrate it with you, and so I shared that video yesterday. So if you weren't aware of it, you can now find this amazing brand in Europe. So if you are living in Europe, then it's time to do a happy dance because you can finally get it without all the customs and all the extra costs. That's also why I'm celebrating, and because this is really a brand that I love from the start. It's so elegant, it's so simple, and this brand really convinced me about flowers. That doesn't mean that I will make flower cards all the time, but I will definitely give it more of a go than I did previously. In the meantime, I started adhering my backgrounds to my card bases. I'm going to make 2 mini slimline cards and 1 A2 sized card. So here I'm just layering that background on top of my card base, and then I'm trimming off the excess. Whenever I need to trim it myself, I'm just messing it up. So I prefer adding the whole background that I created on top of my card base and then trim off the excess. Now for this lovely smaller piece than an A2 size, I'm just using some foam tape and adding it on top of my A2 size card with a lovely white border. Now not everything went evenly smoothly, so I will show you later on what I did to solve some things. But first of all, let's start with a really simple card. Here in this little box I have kept all of the flowers that I created yesterday, and even after these 3 cards I still have quite a lot left, and I didn't even make the flowers with all of the amazing inks that I used today, so that's unfortunate, but I will definitely do that in the future. So the flowers again are from the Spring Floral stamp set. If you want to see me stamp them out, then definitely check out the video from yesterday. There I showed it a bit, but I think you know how to stamp out your flowers. So for my sentiments today, I am using the Cup of Happy, which is an incredible stamp set. That was a stamp set that completely convinced me of Pigment Craft Co. Why? Because it's unique, because it's fun, because it's gorgeous. And once you have seen all of the inspiration on their Instagram channel, then I definitely think you will be convinced as well if you aren't yet. I will make some cards with that stamp set as well, of course, but I first wanted to still use a bit more of those flowers that I created yesterday. So that stamp set will be featured in the future. Today, it's all about the flowers and these colorful backgrounds. Something that can help if you create similar backgrounds like these and then you want to figure out layout is to see which colors are exactly on those areas of your background. I don't call myself an expert in placing flowers. I can fiddle with it for hours before I'm happy with it or convinced about it. But in this case, these backgrounds and the flowers, it came together quite easily just because there were already those colors in the background, and you will see it in my next cards as well. Here I tried some things and laid some things out. This green is sort of, well, green bluish color is sort of the same as right behind it, and then the pink is the pink that returns just the row below it, and you know, that's how organic it can be created. Again, that flower on the top, it's the same color as in the back, and that's just how easy it can be sometimes. So these backgrounds really help me with placement. As I said before, sentiment, again from the same stamp set, Cup of Happy, and this time I'm going to stamp out happy thoughts, which is gorgeous. I also love their scripts. They have several, and I am over the moon with it. They also have really unique alphabets that I don't have yet, but I definitely want to have them because they are gorgeous. And again, check out their Instagram to find some more inspiration because it's gorgeous and it's really unique, but in a very, very good, unique way. Okay, so I used my Gina K Designs Amalgam Ink Obsidian to stamp out my sentiment, and then I thought maybe I can add black splatters. Now I don't have a black wash, so I thought maybe I can use the refill from this ink to do that. Now I fiddled a bit because it's the first time trying it. I needed a bit of water to make it splashable. Next I took those flowers and I added thin foam squares all over the back of these flowers. I kept them all together in place using some present seal, which is really, really handy in this case because I can never get those flowers to fit the same way once I remove them. So this way, thin foam squares on the back, removing the backings and then laying this on top of my card. Since I already have those black splashes on the back, I decided to not add anything more because, well, there is already some interest in the back. And then that final flower that I took off, I don't know why, just added it, and that's my second card. Now for the third card, I started here, so first I'm adhering it closed with some purple tape, and then I started fiddling again with some flowers. You will see that I am matching the flowers with stripes on the background again. You see? So that darker one is overlapping with that darker stripe. Then the green I don't have flowers from, but that's why I changed up the gold flower with the other flower to make it more matchy, and the gold fits so well with the greens. Excuse me. So I just love that. I decided to do again the Feel Better Soon, but this time not die cutting it, stamping it straight on top of my card. This way I also had the Soon. If you want to have the Soon on the other card, I would just stamp it and then add the die cut Feel Better on top of it, but it's all up to you. But here something went wrong, and you will see it in a minute. I used my present seal to keep those flowers the same position, and then, well, I needed them again for the Feel Better Soon. And then I laid it into my Misty and I started stamping them out. So what did I forget? Some of you will immediately know, others will immediately see it once it happens. But here I'm stamping it out. And you see it or don't you see it? Maybe it's a bit different seeing it on YouTube. But as soon as I took it out of my Misty, I saw that I didn't position my stamp. It was completely crooked. So I thought, well, I will start over. I have another background where I just smear those inks. But I was like, no, I need to fix this. So especially for you guys, I tried to fix it. So what did I do? I just took my T-square ruler and I went underneath the sewn and I drew 2 lines on the side to show how it would be straight. And then I based myself with my T-square ruler again on that line to see how much I needed to snip off with my paper trimmer to get those edges already straight with the sewn. Then of course I still have a crooked panel, so I also needed to trim those other edges straight because this isn't working. So I took my T-square ruler again because I needed to measure how much of a white space I was going to have. Really funny, I decided to write it down because my head wasn't working anymore. So normally my mini slimline is 3.5 by 6.25 inches. That's the mini slimline size that Crafty Meraki has, and since I got the mini slimline dies there first, I always make my mini slimlines that size. So I looked how much I cropped it on the smaller size, and it was 7/16 of an inch smaller. So I had to create that same sort of change. I had to make sure that my white border was going to be the same all over my card. So I needed to change the length of my card as well, just of this panel. So I trimmed it down, keeping a bit of both of those final colors still visible because I didn't want to lose anything. And my layout with the flowers was based on the colors in the back, so I needed them all. So here I just have a tiny bit of that pink showing, and then on the other side I still needed to trim a bit down. So that's what I did using that pencil, and my final measurements for my background here are the ones that I just put that square around. So that was my panel now, where the sentiment is completely straight and nobody will know except you guys. But as you can see here, now my panel has the same white border all over. So that was my fix. Now on to the flowers. The flowers, lovely. I love present seal. I'm so glad I found it. I bought it on Amazon. It is a lifesaver. It truly is. So here I'm adding those flowers, and they are just in the perfect position thanks to the present seal. And like Laura Besson, you can still zhuzh up the flowers. And then once I did that, I decided to add again these tiny bubbles. These are iridescent bubbles, tiny, from Studio Katja. I used them yesterday as well. It just looked like dewdrops for me, and so it's perfect with the flowers. Don't you think? It's like the dew in the morning on top of, well, okay. I added a bit more here because it's a bit more playful, I think, with the background like this, and just going over it manually with the inks. It's a bit more organic, I think, but with those subtle, elegant, simple flowers, I think it works so well. And that's how I created 3 cards using the flowers from the Spring Floral stamp set, and the inks, and then the sentiments from Cup of Happy from Pigment Craft Co. So here are some close-ups from the cards. I truly enjoyed creating them, and I hope that you love them as much as I do. It's maybe a bit different for me, but as I said yesterday, these flowers are too gorgeous to not use, and I'm really happy that there is a brand that can get me to use flowers. So that was my video for today. I want to thank you all for stopping by, and I wish you an incredible day. Bye!